This episode of the Perfectly Average Guys podcast goes out in loving memory of Gimli the Gecko. Jackson, when did you first meet Gimli?
The day he was brought here in his big cage, staring with his beautiful eyes out into the new world.
Wow, Gimli always was so innocent. How did Gimli affect you most? Damn, that's rough.
Are you okay?
Yahoo!
Nice.
Finish
him.
Tickle.
Jerry, we need to pay you less. Like, we're not paying you, but we need to pay you less.
Out of his bank account.
Yeah. You need to start paying us for this. Hello, my name is Duncan Walla, and my opinions don't matter. With me, as always, today is Jackson, the Smackson Cartwright.
Yes.
Jackson, how are your smackings going?
Quite smackingly.
Oh, yes, and their sons? Hello, I'm Jackson Cartwright, otherwise known as Jackson, Smackson, and Sons. We're here to make sure that you come right. Here's Viagra. I was imagining an entire infomercial.
Man. You imagined an entire infomercial and then could not figure out what it was an infomercial for.
Yeah, it's just every infomercial is just an infomercial about Viagra. You know?
I mean, if you think about it, yeah.
It's like, OxyClean, get your dick up right. You know? In audio is the one, the only, Gerald Cortez. Gerald, how's it going? Wow, that's really profound. Anyway, Mr. Cartwright, how's it going?
It's actually...
Wow, that's really profound. Okay. Hey, Jack, how's it going? How's your week been? How's your week been?
It's been going pretty well. Not
Lean into the mic, you scoundrel.
Your mom's a scoundrel.
She does not need to come for Amber like that. On her birthday of all days. Yeah.
But no, I've had a fairly enjoyable week. Doing school where all I have to do for school is read good stories and watch good movies is pretty nice.
Yep.
I don't know if you saw my messaging in the group.
No.
Okay. So I
don't check group chats.
I was opening my textbook we were using for our masterpieces of film class. And in, on the front, it has, a bunch of, snapshots of movies and stuff. And it has both Jojo Rabbit and Into the Spider-Verse in there. So I was surprised at how new this textbook was. Because I rarely have had a textbook that's,
within the last 5 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was okay.
I distinctly remember my sophomore year of U.S. history, that textbook. And do you know, what is it? Not John Brown. What's the... Oral Roberts University?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, do you know their textbooks?
No.
They're garbage. They're really bad. But we had ORU textbooks for TDA, as well as a few others. But one of them, the one for U.S. history, I distinctly remember at the end of the textbook it's saying, and present-day history, Barack Obama has been elected the first black president of the United States.
I thought you were going to say senator, and I was going to laugh really hard.
Oh, man. And then it was just going through, yes, Barack Obama, the first black senator. Yeah. I was just going through, like all of the worries that this textbook was, trying to make sure you had. The ORU textbooks are really bad.
That's great.
It's one of the many reasons why I think that college is donkey.
My history textbook for last year, its most recent thing was Trump's inauguration, so it was a little bit newer.
Oh yes. And then it tell you how to be proud.
No.
How to be proud of the big rump dump Trump.
No, it did not.
Oh man.
But the other
I
thing...
wanted to make an election fraud joke, but I also want to keep making this podcast.
But the more important thing is I'm going through and I'm looking at all the little snapshots of films on the side that they have, and a little thing will always be under them, a little bit about the film, and this is kind of a general overview section, and it gets to the thing on late films that were shown in small theaters late at night and have a cult following, and it's a picture of The Room of just Tommy Wiseau's face,
That's
and
good.
I was like, that means this book on masterpieces of cinema has The Room in
Yep.
it.
No. It's used as a teaching piece in plenty of courses.
Which is
you learn a lot
happy.
about how to make a good movie by watching a bad movie.
Yeah.
No, I only bring that up because every so often, whenever I check my email, I just realize I don't know how the GOP got my email account. I don't
even
know
know what GOP stands for. It's everywhere, and I have no clue.
It's basically the Republican side of the government.
Okay.
Otherwise known as the good side of the government. This is my actual opinion. But as we're looking here at my emails, like I'll get like just so much spam from the what are they? Are they the elephant?
Yes.
From the elephant in the room.
That email does not look like it's actually from them.
So
that looks fake.
So it's a big siren emoji. GOP warning, all caps, siren emoji. This is complete your payment now! 4 exclamation marks. Then become a Trump Life member and help take back the House and Senate. It doesn't tell me how to take it back, so I'm just gonna take it back with a gun.
I don't think that's an actual email.
I get a lot of these ones. Where is it? Activation pending. Trump Life membership expiration notice. You have 45 minutes left to claim your exclusive bonus. It's like
I feel like
it's like Jackson Smacks and Cartwright with the Viagra infomercial, but instead with this political dogma.
I mean that doesn't feel like it's
Real?
Yeah, that doesn't feel like that's the actual Republican Party.
No, that's actually Trump emailing
himself.
me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That makes. I honestly would believe that if Trump was just like, all right, here's a list of emails, and he himself was typing all of them.
If he wrote all the spam emails, that would just make my day. Then it would be election fraud. Oh, sorry. I want to keep making the podcast. I never made that joke.
It didn't happen. Not allowed.
So we've talked about political jokes for 5 minutes, so we should stop talking about them.
Yeah, I actually wanted to talk about the film I got to watch this week in class.
You watched a film in your film class?
Yeah, it's very impressive. It is.
What was it like a what is it, like a salt film that you get at the end of like a shower head?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a 1922 silent film called The General, and this movie, this like one joke in this movie was funnier than most modern comedies.
Agreed.
So, but the director and main actor in it, his name is Buster Keaton. Now, Buster Keaton is one of the people who Jackie Chan cites as being heavily influential on him.
Yep.
Because Buster Keaton is like 5'5". So he's a tiny man. But
No. Everyone else is just a tiny man.
Okay.
He is a big man.
He's a big man.
Yeah.
But
I wish I was 5'5". I wish I shrunk 7 inches. Then women would like me. You know?
Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah. Then I would finally become a
Alpha male.
A mega without the virgin. You know.
Okay.
I had to make that joke again, but correct this time.
Yeah.
Because the last time I tried to make it, I just said I was a virgin without the mega, and that was a failure on my part.
But yeah, this when watching this movie, it is very clear that inspiration because he does all of the kind of like over the top, like fast, and then suddenly stops. Slapstick. Very.
I know Buster Keaton from the guy who does all the stunts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a very recognizable name.
To most people, it isn't. To us, it is.
Yeah, I mean, I wish my parents named me Buster. Imagine if I could open the podcast every single episode and say, "Hello, it's Buster Walla." Like that's a much better podcast name than Duncan.
Buster Walla feels like you're destined to be a bouncer at a club for the rest of your life.
Hey, my name is Buster Walla.
I don't know what clubs you're going to where the Italian mob is running them.
Well, we moved into Kansas City, eh? I mean, Beverly Hills, eh? I'm gonna break your legs out back if you keep asking questions.
Anyway.
How are the kids? How are the kids, Jackson?
They're drowned. They died.
Precisely. I'm glad you remember our last encounter. Alright, I'm gonna stop making accents.
That's fine, your kids lost all their toes.
Oh no, not my kids and their toes. Whatever will they do?
But I think my favorite thing about...
Imagine a kid like stumbling around.
It has a lot of that dramatic irony comedy that is just really well done. Like, my favorite scene in the movie is he's on a train. He's chasing some other people on a train. So they let loose a boxcar that just like stops. So his train, like hits the front of it and it's slowing it down. So he gets out and he switches the tracks to send the railroad car on another track. And we see this from like a more sky view. So then he turns around, gets back in his train and turns his train on and goes forward. By the time he does that, we see that the other track that he sent the car on just does like a loop and then gets back on the track in front of him. So then he looks up and just sees that the car is still in front of him and blinks a few times. He then turns around and goes back to work, and we see the people on the train that he's chasing throw a log to try and derail the train. And it derails the boxcar. So then he looks up and suddenly the boxcar's gone, and he just does like a blank stare. And it's all silent, and it was just outstanding. And it's also, you know what? Yeah, Jerry is the person who'd be like, man, imagine I can't like a silent film.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, for Jerry, every film is a silent film. He's deaf.
That's fair.
Yep. I mean, sorry, hard of hearing.
Gotta be politically correct with our...
I'm the most politically correct individual you will ever meet. Man, HR people love me. They just can't get enough of me.
Yeah, you get to see them often.
Yeah, I see them so often. They invite me into their rooms. They lock the doors.
They beat you.
Well, that's what they say happens. I believe women.
Okay, anyway, moving.
As I said, I'm the most politically correct individual.
Now, the other part of this movie that's just impressive is this is 1922. There are no special effects.
By the way, the joke there was that the HR individual at my work is a man, and if he were to beat me, if I were to believe women, I would believe no one. Nothing. That was the joke there.
Good job.
Not that I'm sexist.
Only UPS boys know that.
Oh yes, only good UPS boys. Lift those boxes.
Anyway.
Me waiting for them to bend at the knees.
Okay.
So anyway,
don't think about that too long.
Well, no. Bending at the knees is a UPS sanctioned safe work method. If you bend at the knees and not at the waist, keeping the natural curve of the back, whenever you pick up a box, you'll be at the perfect angle to be anally. Yes.
And so 1922, they don't have any special effects, so they are just on trains. They're just on actual trains, and the most dangerous stunt of the movie, in which Buster Keaton almost gets knocked out and falls on a railroad track, is they have two big wooden beams on the railroad track.
and he does the stilts thing, right?
No.
Okay.
These would derail the train if it goes over them. So he proceeds to be like, okay, so he picks one up and gets back on the train, and then he sees the other one. He then uses the beam in his hand, hits it, and causes it to do like a kind of like a flip, and it flips off the track. Now, when he does this, he has a split second to react and throw himself backwards against the train before the other beam goes whooshing right where his head was. So he just, like, you can watch him almost die several times.
It's the best thing about Buster Keaton films.
It's just very impressive to watch a film like that and be like, oh yeah, he's sitting on like the little side spoke of that train while it's moving.
Yeah, at any moment it could be a snuff film. Yeah, that's one of the most like jaw-dropping things about Buster Keaton. Well, anyway, I think that's lovely. Did you like have to write a paper on it or anything?
I didn't know. I had to do like a discussion thing on it. It was like 300 words, but I basically just kind of talked about everything I just did.
That's good. That's good.
It's very...
Yeah, I saw that you were reading your script for this podcast.
Yeah, my very well-written script.
Yeah, actually, it wasn't too well-written.
I tattooed it on my leg.
Well, there were a couple... I didn't want to mention it, but your new tattoo has a couple of conjunctions that are improper, as well as a run-on sentence.
I feel like there's an improper conjunction joke somewhere.
Well, no.
It feels like that should have been made.
I mean, there is a joke that if you tattooed your leg, it would be a run-on sentence, because you're... Yeah, okay, anyway.
No, I don't. I think that's illegal.
It's illegal to run on a sentence?
Yes.
Senator Cartwright.
No. Okay, that's not where okay.
Where do you think that was going, huh?
I don't know.
Okay, so Senator
you
Cartwright.
You said senator and I panicked.
Oh yeah, you just had flashbacks to the last time you were at the courthouse?
Last time I was a senator.
When his sweet, sweet fingers were up the inside of your thigh. All right. Anyway, Senator Cartwright, why would it be illegal? Why do you think it should be illegal to run on a sentence?
Molestation.
Molestation? Okay. Well, that's simple enough. Everyone in favor of molestation, say aye. And the entire House and Senate said aye. What?
Whoa! No
What,
way.
really? Man, politician bad. Duncan Walla, 2021.
Is that your campaign slogan for when you run for governor of Kansas? Politician bad.
Politician bad. PAG good. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Get rid of the government.
Yeah, I just think that communism hasn't been really tried yet. So we just need to, as a people, decide each according to his means, and each according to his means.
I think that
each according to his means.
A undergraduate at Harvard knows much more about communism than anyone from Cuba.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I'm not even an undergraduate from Harvard, because I'm not of the bourgeois.
Of the board.
I am the proletariat. And all of you are too.
All right, this is a fun game.
Yep.
I think we need to play this with all our friends. We can add this to our list of questions in PAG. Is who do you think would brainwash you faster?
Okay.
North Korea or Harvard? Like who's gonna find your weakness first?
Who's gonna find your kryptonite axe first? to bring that one back. I personally think that certainly North Korea.
Okay.
Well, no, North Korea would just shoot me.
Okay.
Right? They'd be like, I was about to make a really racist accent.
No, 2 podcasts in a row, you've almost done an accent and be like, wait a second.
That's offensive. Because here's the thing, it would be funny if it wasn't being recorded, you know?
Duncan does do the racist accents when it's not being recorded.
Not really. They just sound less racist whenever they're not being recorded, you know what I'm saying?
That's fair.
Yeah.
Jerry does put like a racist filter over our audio.
Oh man, I had a lot of ideas go through about what a racist filter would be. Oh man.
I think another movie to talk about, another one that should really be in the masterpieces of film, is Dodgeball, which we watched.
No, that was a terrible movie.
That was. I don't even know how to describe that movie.
It's a poorly made movie. It's a poorly written movie. It's just a bad movie.
Okay,
so to give context to the listeners out there, all 24 of you, there's a movie called Dodgeball, and apparently some of our D&D friends really like it.
They sat, after the first time they watched it, I've only heard tales of this, they sat in silence for 1 minute before Aidan McLaughlin, who has been on The Perfectly Average Guys, said...
John Big Nipples, if you will.
Yes. Martin Scorsese cannot write dialogue.
Yeah, and they have... It's been something of a cult fascination with it, and they've watched it several times since, and they like it a lot. And then they sat Jackson, Kai, and I down to watch it with them.
None of us enjoyed it nearly as much.
Nah, we all thought it was garbage, and it kind of is. It's pretty pretty garbage.
Like it's definitely like I can see people liking it for it's almost to a so bad it's good, but sometimes
and some of the jokes are legitimately entertaining.
Yeah, like there are some good ones, like when the guy is flirting with the lawyer and he's like, "What kind of cases do you normally handle?" She's like, "Sexual harassment." Like that was a really good joke at the beginning. So
yes, she continued to be the easiest victim to ever prey upon for the rest of the movie.
But she's not a lesbian, she's bisexual.
Yeah, it's like, oh wow, what a joke. That must have been really funny in 2010.
There is one writing credit for the movie. There is Rawson Marshall Thurber is who wrote this. What else have they... They wrote Skyscraper, that Dwayne The Rock Johnson movie. And that's about all and Central Intelligence. Man, that's a lot of rock. That's 2 rock movies. And I don't recognize any of the other ones.
Wow.
I think it was certainly something.
It was poorly written, and most of the jokes were very bad and very dated.
Oh, yeah.
Like, very dated. And the jokes that were, like, the prime jokes about, like, yes, we think that you should not be fat because not being fat is beautiful, is, like, half of the jokes that Mr. Ben Stiller makes. And all of them, not a single one of them provoked a laugh, even from the from the cultists of Dodgeball.
Yeah, it was.
I just thought it was like, man, this is a bad movie.
Yeah,
Some of the jokes were good though. Like what was it, the car wash one?
Yes.
Where it was like he keeps paying him to wash his car over and over again.
Oh no.
That was pretty funny. That was a good joke.
Like every once in a while, you'll get something really good, and like I have to give them at least a little credit, especially Ben Stiller, for at least going full out.
Yeah.
Like, Ben Stiller did not hold anything back in that role. He went full in with every joke and every line and every hit movement.
None of them were good.
No. There's very few.
He was one of the least funny aspects of the movie.
Definitely.
I disagree with everyone who thought he was funny. He was not funny.
He was.
And
I like Kai respecting him. Like Kai.
No, Kai just saw his hip movements, and Kai was just fascinated. It was hypnotizing how they moved in such perfect circles. But I thought that I like Zoolander. Yeah. Zoolander is really good. This movie is just garbage, and I think that we should stop talking about bad movies.
That's fair.
Yep. I haven't watched many movies recently.
Yeah, I just have an excuse to. When once a week they're just shoving them in my eye holes.
True.
So I've been going through some television.
Okay.
That's mainly what I've been doing.
I walked in on you and you had your pants down watching Marvel What If.
Yeah, no, it's I'm enjoying that so far. It's really short. So I was just like, and I didn't even know if all the episodes are out, so I was kind of just like, I can just through this. They're all 34 minutes long. I
like it.
Yeah, no, I really enjoy it. I think it's very well done. It looks a lot like a comic book. It's written a lot like a comic book, so not all the dialogue is great. Because it's like 30 minutes when they're trying to do like a different version of a Marvel movie, it can feel a little rushed, and some of the voice actors, even though they are a lot of the characters are voiced by their MCU, like live action people, a lot of the performances aren't like amazing. Like they kind of come across as like, yeah, we paid Sebastian Stan to come here for 30 minutes.
Yeah, we paid Sebastian Stan to read this script.
Yeah, it's just, a lot of it feels like that, but it looks beautiful. The stories are very interesting. It definitely feels a lot like a comic book, for better and worse.
Yep. Well, I need to watch it. I need to watch a lot of things.
Yeah, you probably enjoy. Before you watch that, watch Loki. It's so good. Actually, don't watch Loki. I need to watch it with you.
Fair. Understandable. Now, most of what I did this week was more adult stuff because I just can't escape it.
There's no escaping adulthood.
I'll probably get back to doing more, childish things as I'm done with basic training and everything. But it's been a lot of adult stuff. But the not adult thing I did this week was... Actually, there are two not adult things I did this week. The first one was London and I bought a lot of alcohol. Like a lot of alcohol. It was great.
For when?
No, so we were out.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh yeah, let's go get more stuff. And Alana was like, oh yeah, I want to try all these things. And then we would just go. I picked out one thing, which was a Miniszewicz, which is a berry Jew wine. It's super berry Jew wine, and it's used just to get all the Jews nice and happy and Jewish. And I picked out that. And then she was just like, oh yeah, bottle of vodka, bottle of rum, 4 bottles of wine, 4 pints of cider. And she was just going down and picking up like two different large bottles of sake. I was like, man, that's a lot of alcohol. He's like, yeah, I want to try all of it.
Well, this next D&D session's gonna...
No,
Logan, you need to come to the next one. Yeah, no, prove to your parents.
Yeah, prove to your parents that they're adults and they're people at least 21. But Alone just piled it all up there, and it was like, yeah, I want to try it all. And I was like, this is dope. Because I'm 19, right? I can't legally buy this stuff. But being married to someone who can is pretty gnarly, because I get to be responsibly irresponsible.
You get to be an alcoholic before you're 21. It's so nice.
Well, the thing is, it's not alcoholism if I can actually stop drinking. But the funny thing about it is... funny
thing about alcoholism.
Yeah, you can't stop drinking. I can stop at any time, all right? Yeah. the new episode title, Duncan's an alcoholic. for drinking a glass of wine a night with his wife.
For drinking a jug of cider a night.
Well, a jug is different from a pint. A pint of cider is nothing.
Oh, yeah.
I can throw back 12 of those.
And I have.
Yeah, 12 pints of cider is almost as much as you have of blood. But, anyway.
Good one. You got to get that 1-to-1 blood alcohol content.
Oh, yes, finally. But, we've had that for a while, and that's been pretty gnarly. It's just like, after a nice long day of lifting packages, she'll pour a glass of wine. It's like, man, this is dope. Allow me to play with cards. Or it's like, because I'm sitting there being an adult, and then I'm like, damn, allow me to watch videos of people playing Smash Bros. It's the greatest thing about being an adult is I don't feel like I'm an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. The other not adult thing I did was the Smash Bros. Watching. Oh my lord! I told you to watch Summit last week. Did you watch anything of Summit?
I have not.
We are gonna watch some of Summit. It is so good. Okay, so for those of you out there who don't know anything about the FGC, about the FGC, it stands for the Fighting Game Community, and I love the FGC. It is a ton of fun to follow, and especially Smash. So Smash Melee and Smash Ultimate are the two ones that I really follow, because all of the other Smash scenes are dead.
It also more commonly stands for the Federal Trade Commission.
FGC.
Oh, I heard FTC, and I was like, what?
Yeah, no, the fighting game community.
Yeah, that.
And so recently, over my honeymoon, we had Smash Melee Summit, or Smash Summit Melee, and that was one of the coolest tournaments I ever watched, because it was the first Melee tournament back, or the first Melee major back from COVID-19, and it had the highest prize pool in Melee history. With something along the lines like $150,000, which compared to like a Fortnite prize pool is nothing, but for Melee that's a lot, because Fortnite, Epic Games subsidizes each of their prize pools. So Epic Games will be like, yeah, I'll put up $50 million for this Fortnite tournament, or you take You take something like Street Fighter and it's Capcom, yeah.
Yes.
And Capcom will say like, yeah, for the Street Fighter World Cup, we're gonna put $10 million on the line.
Yeah.
And then the organizers and all of the tournament goers, they pay into the prize pool, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, to where first place can walk away with like $5 million. And that's like a lot of money for just playing a video game, right? And being really good at pressing buttons. Smash has never had that, because Nintendo, I looked back to see if it was a member of your family who would be upset if I said Nintendo is a bitch. And it's just Scout. Scout doesn't care. Yeah, Scout, do you care if I say the word bitch? She does. All right, she's upset with me. She's reporting me to Andrea. But also, Scout looks so well groomed right now.
Yeah, she came back from the groomer today. It's nice when you can like see her face and she doesn't have
She's so soft and sweet. Anyway, but so Melee Summit happened, and Mango, my favorite Melee player, Mango, won his first Summit ever, and he's been like one of the best players in Melee for the last like 20 years. Like, he's amazing, but he's never won a Summit for some reason. It's whack, but he won the biggest Melee tournament ever over the guy that people are like, oh yes, Zane. So Zane showed up, and
I never picture. I don't describe him. I'm picturing the character from Lego Ninjago.
No, it's decently accurate.
Showing up.
So do you know Hungrybox?
No.
So Hungrybox plays Jigglypuff.
Okay.
And Jigglypuff is really lame. She's a lame character, and anyone who plays her is a little baby boy who just needs their mother to hold their hand while they play Melee. All right? And
sounds like we need to play Melee, where Jigglypuff is actually not the worst.
No, she's not the worst. She is tied for best character. All right.
Perfect.
She's absolutely absurd.
Who's the best?
I said it's tied.
Okay,
but it's a toss up between Fox, Marth, and Jigglypuff.
Okay, yeah.
Like at any given moment.
Is this the game where Marth can like grab you from halfway across the screen?
Yeah. And if you play Marth, if you're playing against Marth on FD, you should basically just lose. No, that's a legitimate Melee theory, is that you can't beat Marth on FD if that Marth is playing optimally. right? Because any grab means you're dead. If that Martha's playing optimally, and they're gonna get a grab, right? So I mean, people complain about what is it? Ice climbers having a broken grab, but their grab range is like 3 centimeters, whereas Marth's grab range is famously larger than Yoshi's. See that big tongue go out? Nothing. It means nothing against Marth. His hands are coming for you, right? But so this Melee Summit is awesome, and Zane dethroned Hungrybox before quarantine. Zane just came down because Hungrybox was winning every single tournament for the last 2 years. And everyone's like, please ban Puff. We don't need this character anymore. And then Zane comes along, absolutely smacks Hungrybox, winning 6 games over him from losers. And then Hungrybox proceeds to lose to Zane every other tournament that he faces him. And then we're in this tournament, right? And we all are thinking, yeah, Zane's going to win again.
Yeah.
Zane has been so hot. He was good on Wi-Fi, and he was good on not Wi-Fi. That says a lot about, for reference, Ultimate, MK Leo, best player in the world, he freaking sucks on Wi-Fi. He did not compete in a single tournament there. Whereas Zane is out here just like, yes, I am better than everyone. Now, here we are. We have Mango, the star of the show. He gets put into losers in winners quarters, right? And the way that a FGC tournament works is that it's double elimination, right? So if you're going through this tournament and you lose a set, you go 2-3, and that person beats you, then you're put into the losers bracket. And then you have to be eliminated one more time. So you have 2 brackets, and they eventually meet up at grand finals. One person from the losers bracket, one person from the winners bracket. The person from the losers bracket needs to win 2 sets over the person from winners, right? Because it's a double elimination tournament. It's the best way to run any tournament. It's how I think everyone should run it. That being said, Mango gets put into losers super early because it's an invitational. Only 16 people are at this tournament. So winners quarters is a very early time to be put into losers for Summit. And historically, the last 3 times he's been at Summit, he gets put into he loses, he gets put into losers early, flounders, gets out. Even though he's amazing, he's amazing at the game. He's the most mentality player. If he feels good, he wins. If he feels bad, he loses. Mm-hmm. So he goes into losers. He literally tweets out, "I just want to lose to Hungrybox and go home." It's he just tweets that out, and it's no, Mango, we wanted you to win your first Summit. And then he goes in and just smacks Hungrybox, who's been destroying him for the last 2 or 3 years. And then he proceeds to absolutely eviscerate everyone in the tournament. And he goes to Zane in grand finals, and he beats him on FD twice. He had to win 6 games against. So the way that stages work in fighting games is that generally the loser picks the stage. But that would be broken in a game like Melee. And in plenty of games where stage choice really decides how a matchup works, because these games are super complex.
That's mainly platform fighters is where that is.
Yeah, because if you're picking the stage doesn't matter in Street Fighter, for instance. It's just what pretty background you're playing with. Which I believe some Street Fighter players want to just have the training room background because they don't want to be distracted.
Yeah, I know there are some, when it comes to, some stages, they, get banned or players never pick them or whatever, just because the background is so,
intrusive.
Bright, shiny, chaotic.
Yeah. Anyway, here is Melee. The loser can pick a stage. But that would be broken because let's say your character has a matchup with another character, and it's a 6-4, right? So you 40% of the time are going to win. They're going to win 60% of the time. So it's a losing matchup. That being said, if your character's playing on Dreamland, for instance, which is a bigger stage, and your character can really utilize that space, and there are platforms on it, but the platforms are higher up, so your character with a higher jump height can really utilize that space better. Then that matchup goes to 50-50. right? And that's Fox Marth. Fox prefers Dreamland over Marth. So it's like a 50-50 matchup there. But let's say you lose the first game because you both went to PS2, which is a very neutral stage. And because like neutral just means it doesn't give any character an advantage. And then the loser immediately goes to Final Destination. If Marth goes to Final Destination, it goes from this might be a 50-50 or 60-40 to, oh, look, this is like an 8-2. And if Marth is supposed to win 80% of the time against Fox on Final Destination, that is bad. No matter how good you are, you're fighting way uphill. So what there is there's a ban system. So the winner bans 2 stages, and then the loser picks a stage from the ones not banned. But that would also be broken, because then no matter what, if your character's really only good on one stage, they're never getting it. So there's another system, I forget what it's actually called, but essentially once you've won on a stage, you can't choose that stage for that set, which is like super big, and until you've won on another stage, right? I think that's how it works. I don't necessarily remember. This is particular to Melee. It's not nearly as important to Ultimate. But immediately, Mango doesn't ban Final Destination. He doesn't ban it because he knows he's gonna go up against Zane, and he's like, I'm going to beat Zane on the stage he's gonna win, and he should win. And even though I'm coming from losers, I'm gonna have to do that twice, no matter what. So he just bites the bullet, goes to FD, destroys him, and then keeps going. It's one of the most jaw-dropping sets I've ever watched. It lasts 40 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Of them just duking it out. I'm just staring there. I'm on my honeymoon when I'm watching this, and I'm explaining to Alona everything that's going on, and she's like, "Wow, this is amazing." But right at the end, another big Melee person, Mewtwo King, did an analysis of the set. And on the last game, they were both last stock. And Mango was at 125 something %, right? So he was gonna die if Marth got a single tipper. And what happens is Marth gets him onto the top platform of Battlefield. And Mewtwo King does an analysis of this. And by the way, Zane is at like 20%. Mewtwo King did an analysis of this, and he did a frame by frame, and showed that Zane was 1 frame off of getting a tipper up air onto the top of him. 1 frame off. And he then proceeded, and then Mango proceeded to get a 0 to death on him.
Nice.
It's just amazing. I could talk about that set forever. And then Mango wins, and it's great. And then it happened again with the Ultimate Summit. Another awesome sequence of events happened with the Ultimate Summit with my man Tweak. I would go into even more detail about this one, but Tweak plays my character now. After quarantine, he plays Diddy Kong, and I couldn't be more proud of my boy. Monkeys, rise up. And I love watching Diddy Kong, and Tweak's Diddy Kong is absurd, because Tweak usually plays a meticulous and boring game. He just sits there and presses the buttons that work and doesn't do anything cool. Until he started losing a lot. Because what happened is Tweak, he's the second best player in the world, right? And he's been the Deku to MK Leo's Bakugo, right? Because Leo has just been absolutely rocking all of his Hebes and Jeebies. There was a pretty infamous time where Leo was coming from losers, and they were at Evo with 80 grand on the line, and there they were, and they were playing. Tweak went up 2 games to 0. He was about to 3-0 MK Leo. MK Leo was down to 1 stock against Tweak's 3. And then MK Leo reversed 6-0'd Tweak on Evo for 80 grand. And it was one of the most humiliating things that you could ever have happen to you.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
Yeah. And Tweak kind of just floundered in Ultimate for a while. Oh, he wasn't washed because he was still the second best, but he was a definitive second, and nobody could beat Leo, which was dang, that kind of sucks. And then Mars beat Leo, which was pretty great. I'm a big fan of Mars. And in this game, or in this, what is it? In this tournament, Leo got sent to losers, I think by Tweak. He got sent to losers by Tweak, and Tweak 3-0'd him. Mm-hmm. Right? Which, like, never happened. Nobody 3-0's Leo. Not even Mars 3-0'd Leo when he won. And then they meet again in grand finals. And Tweak 3-0's him again. I was watching this, and it was a 50-minute video. Yeah. So I was assuming, like, oh, Leo's in losers, Tweak's in winners. We're gonna have another
another reverse.
We're gonna have another Evo situation. Because Leo didn't do that once to Tweak. He did that several times across several majors, where he came from losers and stole it all for a reverse 6-0. And it was humiliating every single time. For Tweak, like, there was memes where it's like, yes, Leo lets Tweak get the first two.
He's shaming his little Diddy Kong.
Well, no, he didn't play Diddy Kong back then.
Oh.
He's only started playing Diddy Kong after quarantine. Mm. And Tweak comes in. He plays the most aggressive game of Tweak I've ever seen, and 3-0's him, and then comes down and was like, he's like, it wasn't happening again. Like, I had to win this one. And he got like $100,000. It was awesome. Mm-hmm. It was just such a hype couple of tournaments, and that's what I've been watching. Because for Alona and I's marriage, it's not, oh yes, I had a long day at work. Let me come home, crack open a Bud Light, and watch some football. It's like, no, allow me to come home, crack open whatever Alona bought, and then watch some Diddy Kong. Well, that's my last week.
That does seem, yeah, it sounds fun. I've never been someone who watches a lot of fighting like game tournaments, but I definitely think it's interesting. I think it's cool.
It's better than any sport. I will stick to that.
Yeah, easily.
Now, here's my legitimate argument for it. Like, this is my argument for why it's better. Not just because I think it's interesting. First of all of your athletes in traditional sports, you know what happens to them? They break their legs. They tear their muscles. Their careers last for 4 to 10 years. Usually not 10, though, right?
Yeah.
Their careers are short, right? Compare that to a fighting game player. What the worst injuries that happen to fighting game players are what happened to melee players whenever they press too many buttons at once. No, I'm not joking. There are people who get arthritis in their hands and they can't play the game anymore. That is literally the worst thing that has ever happened to a fighting game player. Bam. Yeah. I like that right there. It's safer for the people to play it. And also, it is way more intricate than any sport.
I think it's more intricate. It also is just anyone can turn on like a Smash Bros tournament and understand generally like, yes, they're trying to hit each other until the other, or like maybe not Smash, but like everyone can turn on a Street Fighter tournament.
Yeah,
like,
Street Fighter's a lot easier to understand.
Street Fighter, they're trying to hit each other until the other one dies.
Yeah.
And that is closer, like, definitely more Smash Ultimate than Melee is like that. But Jerry is shaking his head. You could not know what fighting games are and turn on Street Fighter and be like, yes, they're punching each other until they're going to die. That's fair. Jerry doesn't... I've played Street Fighter with Jerry, and he still doesn't understand it.
Yeah.
So...
there is a certain bar to entry, because if you don't know what buttons they're pressing, it can often just look like animation, right? Yeah. And it's like, oh yes, these animated things are happening. But Alona doesn't know what's happening.
Yeah.
And she loves it, right?
Yeah, but that's because, a person can turn on Street Fighter and generally get the concept. If
if one person's health bar goes to the end, they lose.
Yeah. And you could be someone who's like, if you've never watched something like football before, you could turn that on and you could watch. You can be like, I get it. They're trying to get from here to there.
No, I don't. No, it took me several attempts for people of watching it for me to get like the bravery to ask like, what's going on. What is going on with this game?
Because the thing is, like, you could, like, even, like, you could be like, okay, even if you understand that they're trying to get it from one side of the field to the other, and that is what their goal is, you have downs and players and heights and stuff like that. It's where Jerry's making the dumbest faces right now. Jerry, tell me that if you had never heard of golf, you could turn on golf and watch what was going on and understand it more than if you turned on Street Fighter.
Okay,
He's lying.
Jerry's nodding his head emphatically.
Jerry doesn't even watch sports, so I don't think he knows how golf works.
No, he doesn't. But anyways, no, I think that like our generation can make that claim a lot more than
yeah.
even millennials.
Yeah.
Right? Or like millennials can watch it and probably be like, "Oh yeah, we grew up with soccer. You kick the ball into the goal." Soccer is also probably the most straightforward.
Yeah, it's real simple.
Yeah, the most straightforward one. But bring up baseball, for instance. Baseball is the only traditional sport I like.
Yeah.
It's the only one I like. It's not because I can play it. Not at all. I would just suck absolute cheeks at baseball. Like I would be taking both cheeks in one hand and the other and just like right up.
Like Jello.
Like Jello, yes, thank you very much. But not like well mixed in. It hasn't been left in the fridge for that long, so it's mostly liquid.
Good.
Yeah, that would be the cheeks I would suck. Anyway, I would suck at baseball. I'd probably be best at actual fighting sport.
Yeah.
Anyway, those are actually probably the only sports I watch more often than not. But I like baseball because for the World Series, when the Royals win, I was in Kansas from Beverly Hills, right? I went to Kansas from California for a little bit, and the Royals were going to the World Series, right?
Yeah.
And my uncle had season tickets both years that the Royals went to the World Series, and he had like 9 of them. And he invited his family to go watch every single World Series game.
Yeah.
Young, impressionable Duncan loved that. That was so much fun, especially when I was a homeschooler. And it was just like, oh yeah, show up and watch a World Series. Like, go to sit in the park, watch the game with my family.
Yeah.
And I grew to actually understand how the game was played. And it made a bit more sense. That being said, whenever I did my service to the Army, they had a super cool opportunity where I got to go to a Royals game and publicly swear in.
Yeah.
And that was a ton of fun. And I brought my wife to watch the Royals game with me because I would not want to go alone. And I spent the entirety of that game explaining to her how baseball worked. The entirety of that game.
That's fair.
And it took a long time for her to get it.
Yeah.
Compare that to Smash, in which I just said, yes, this is hard because of this. And you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And I explained to her the simple concept of safe on shield.
Yeah.
Right? So, for those of you listening out there, if you were to play a video game, such as Smash, and you were told that you have a shield button, well, you press the button and then you don't get damaged so long as you have that shield out, right?
Yeah.
Anybody who's played Kirby understands this. And you have your shield out. Now, what makes a shield not broken? What makes a shield good? What makes a shield, like, balanced, for instance? And there's a lot of things that make it balanced. You, first of all, can grab the shield. So if you grab them while they're shielding, you can get a free grab in.
Yeah.
And there's nothing they can do about it. And the second part of this, and this is the part that, once Alona understood this, she was able to follow the games a lot better.
Yeah.
That if you hit the shield with certain moves, there's a lot of lag at the end of it. So they hit, like, I have a sword and I hit your shield, and I have to recover until I can hit again.
Yeah.
But let's say you drop your shield and attack me before I can recover.
Yeah.
That's not safe on shield. The inverse is precisely what safe on shield is. So plenty of moves that people throw out, eventually the game can get super complex. If they throw up a shield, a lot of things are going on.
Yeah.
Even though we're traditionally, if you're watching that would be the lamest or least interesting part of the game. Because, like, I want to see people punching each other.
Yeah.
No, the defensive interactions are super complex.
But I would say, even for something like, Smash or something like that, you don't even necessarily need to know what safe on shield is to follow the game. You can just be like, you can see that, like, oh, they just did that to not take damage and now the fight is continuing.
Yep.
Like, that's not necessarily, because there's all sorts of stuff, because for a while I've watched YouTubers talk about, mainly he does MK11 and Injustice videos, and there is, like, that's what was like made me be like, I'm never going to be competitively good, because I do not want to sit there and study memorize the frame data for each of my moves and different strings and stuff like that.
2D fighters have a lot more frame data than Smash. Like, for Smash, I know a decent amount of frame data for moves that matter, right? So for those of you listening out there, because this is partially Jackson and I talking about things we're interested in, and partially explaining to the listeners as we do it.
Yeah.
But for those of you listening out there, frame data is a euphemism amongst fighting game players for how many frames it takes your move to come out. And then how many frames does it take your move to end until you can do another move.
Yeah.
That's all that means. So frames is how we measure the lapse of time, because if your game's running at 60 frames per second, and it takes 5 frames for something to happen, that's a lot more precise than saying, what would that be? 1/6 of a second.
Yeah.
Right? 1/6 of a second is a lot harder to actually measure. So I know certain frames, like Diddy's up smash, comes out in 5 frames. That's super important because no human can react to 5 frames, right? The average human reaction time is something like not 1/20th. I think it's about 1/20th of a second. No,
I don't.
I'm trying to think it up. It's not 1/20th. That's a super fast reaction time. The average human reaction time is something like I forget.
It's a number. You can look it up. You're on your phone.
Yeah, it's not fast enough to react to 5 frames, right? And that's important. Once you get to like the 14, 15 frames, that's 1/4. There we are.
Yeah.
Once you get to like 14, 15 frames, then you can react to it. So if I throw out my Diddy's up smash, I know that if it was going to hit them, it will hit them. They can't avoid it.
Yeah.
Right? And also it means that it's safe out of shield. So if they hit my shield, I can just up smash and immediately hit them.
Yeah.
And there's nothing they can do about it. Compared to plenty of other moves in the game, which don't come out in 5 frames.
Yeah.
Like, if it's a move such as Ganondorf's Warlock Punch, which takes an entire second to come out, right?
Yeah.
A second may not seem like it's that long, but in any sport, a second takes up a lot of time.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So there's a lot more time. You can react a lot in a second. There's a lot of counterplay that happens in 1 second compared to 5 frames where nothing happens.
And this gets a lot complicated when you get into 2D fighters, like when you get to NetherRealm games and stuff like that. There are certain moves that there are certain attack strings and moves that have made characters very broken in the past because their funny thing is that they're plus on block.
Yep.
So that if you hit them with that and then they try and punish you by hitting a button, you can hit a button and go and punish them for trying to punish you.
Yep.
It's why in Mortal Kombat 11, Johnny Cage went from being arguably one of the best characters in the game to mid to low tier. Is they made all of his strings that were plus on block either neutral, which is just 0,
which is how everything should be on block,
or minus on block. So
which is how most other things should be on block. Okay, so I generally think that if you have a move that's plus on block, i.e., what is it? Like in Melee, one of the things that makes Fox really good is Shine. Shine comes out in 1 frame. So if you think 5 frames is fast, what's 5 times faster? Right? And you can also jump from it in 1 frame. And then shine again in 1 frame. So if you're able to press those buttons super freaking fast, and this is why people get arthritis from this game, you can do a lot of stuff on somebody's shield. Because all of that is plus on shield. You can shine into shine, jump, shine, drill, shine.
Yeah.
And it's like, mind you, it's really hard to do in that game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that... And you just destroy somebody's shield, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Generally, like, even when characters in 2D fighting games that I have, the more traditional fighting games that I've played and watched stuff on, they don't generally have stuff like that. Most things you'll see in those that are, like, plus on block to really insane degrees are projectiles, but it's basically because they knock them down, so then... You can, sprint. You can get back in.
Yeah, you can gain. Well, you can get into close quarters.
Close quarters, yeah, and that's why, mainly what a lot of the plus rooms did, and nothing is ever super crazy plus. Besides that, is it would just help keep safe. So when you but the issue is a lot of times that'll be on a character where that's kind of their gimmick, that's how they were designed. Which again is why Johnny Cage went from being really good to not great. Is because that was kind of the only thing he had going for his character was he had a lot of these strings where he could keep you blocking and then you had to guess what he was going to do, if he was going to do something safe or unsafe for you to punish. And when you take away all of that, then suddenly he's just basically doesn't have any big plus
suddenly he
going
just
for
has
him.
bad neutral.
Yeah. Because he was like the footsies or neutral king, and then suddenly he doesn't have one anymore.
Yeah. Well, we've talked a lot about fighting games.
We have.
Yeah, and I love fighting games.
Yes.
They are the anime of life.
Yeah.
They're the like because I compared Tweak and Leo to Bakugo and Deku because they pretty much are.
The only other thing that even comes close to the fighting game community when it comes to anime is WWE, which is just anime.
That is true. that is just American anime. Anyway, I think we talked about that for a decent amount. Do you want to go to the end step to our closing
Arguments?
Our closing arguments. Yes, Senator Jackson. As you were saying about run-on sentences and why they're illegal. Man, that hit me with a sense of nostalgia. For 1 hour ago.
The beginning of the episode.
Yeah, for 1 hour ago. All right. Jackson, what would you like to leave the people with this week?
I just thought of so many jokes I couldn't say.
Yeah, well, you should just say one. This is a comedy podcast.
Oh, no.
So
I told you.
So that being all cut out, Jerry, can you just put in like a bunch of like bleeping sounds? We're just not. Don't delete the podcast, you animal. Anyway, I guess he is an animal. He's at least part animal.
He's like one half animal. His head's roughly half of him.
Yeah, so his half of his mass. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to leave the people with?
I don't know. We were kind of wrapping up to an outro.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to say.
No jokes? Okay. I just want to implore everybody to check out our YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah, we play fighting games on there.
Yeah, the Perfectly Average Guys YouTube channel. You can go over there and do all of the YouTube things, like commenting, liking, and subscribing. We do play some fighting games. We should play some more.
We should, yeah.
Yeah.
We have some vlogs. I think earlier today, Jerry was editing a vlog.
Oh, okay. We also have a skit that should be going up eventually.
That'll happen eventually.
That one's gonna be funny.
That one's gonna be good.
All right.
But yeah, go over there, check out everything. You'll enjoy yourself.
Yep, and I'm not one for long outros. Goodbye.